In this video, we'll be creating a melee combat system that will knock back and daze the enemy. So let's begin. This is what we have right now, just a player with a simple player movement script and enemies that spawn and follow it. So first thing we'll do is go to the game object that holds our player sprite and then right click and create an empty game object called sword. Then I'll go to my sprites folder and then find the sword image and drag it under the game object I've just created. And name this one sword graphics. And then set its position to 0 and in our scene, move it slightly in front of the player. Then in our sword graphics, create another game object called attack position. And move it in front of the sword. In our player movement script, we're going to create a public float attack range, a public float attack rate, and a public float knockback force. Then scroll down and create a public game object sword, a public transform attack position, and a public layer mask enemy layer. And then finally, scroll down and create a float time. Then in the update method, we'll get our mouse position, set the z-axis to 0, get the direction and the angle, and finally set our sword rotation to the angle. Then create a void melee attack, and as a parameter it will have int damage. Then we're going to check for any game object is the enemy layer in our range, and then we're going to apply damage and knockback to them. And finally we'll play the attack animation and set time to 0. Then in the flip function we're going to flip our sword. In method type if time is less than attack rate, then time plus equals time dot delta time. Else if our left mouse button is clicked, then melee attack in brackets 1. Then go to our enemy script and here create a public integer max health and health. Then in the start method we'll set our health to max health. Then scroll down and create a public void take damage and a public eye enumerator that will knock back our enemy. And then create a public void knockback that will start our eye enumerator. Then in the update method type if health is less than or equal to 0, then destroy game object. Then in Unity, go to our player movement script and drag in the sword to sword slot, drag in the attack position to attack position slot, and set our enemy layer to enemy. If you don't have the enemy layer, then you can go here and add layer. Set the attack range to 1.5, attack rate to 0.4, and knockback force to 25. Then go to the enemy prefab and in the rigid-body 2D set linear drag to 10. And after you created all the animations, this should. I hope you found the video useful. If you have any questions or tutorial suggestions, you can leave them in the comments.